Something I really enjoyed in the recent X-Universe films is the use of time travel. They use Days of Future Past to erase X-Men The Last Stand. That's a brilliant move. And Deadpool 2 continues that, erasing some other previous mistakes, or at least making fun of them with hilarious consequences. But the thing is, I guess like Cable's little time device, there's only so much juice because nobody's gone back to fix X-Men Apocalypse yet. Then again, if Fox actually did have time travel, I guess there would be bigger issues to fix. Never mind Singer. Is there a time machine for Fox's other intellectual properties? I said time machine, not money machine. But before the entire entertainment industry is wearing mouse ears, we still have, for now, an independent Fox, arguably at the top of their game, at least when it comes to the X-Men films. Except for the aforementioned X-Men Apocalypse, but never mind that. But why are they at the top of their game? Well, if I told you now, you wouldn't watch the rest of this video. One of the major reasons they're at the top of their game, and why this video is entitled the way it is because Fox is actually using the source material when it comes to X-Men comic books. And that's why I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that Deadpool 2 may actually be the truest comic book adaptation, at least when it comes to X-Men films. To start with, you have to admit that Fox has actually, with their recent successes, nailed the tone of those films. Whether or not you consider them successes, that's debatable. But much like the MCU model, the X-Men cinematic universe has realized that their X-Men films don't just have to be action films. They can be other genres. Love it or hate it, the Wolverine as a samurai film was actually perfect considering the history of the comic books. And they continued that with Logan being a Western and the New Mutants being a mystery, because does anybody know what's going on with that friggin' movie? Deadpool may be the exact adaptation and the exact tone that we need for the 21st century audience. Here's a world where everybody shouts everything they think on YouTube or Twitter if you're the president, or Facebook. Do people still use Facebook? The point is, it's self-degrading, it's self-referential, it's sarcastic, and that is what most people are in a Western society. So Deadpool may be the perfect Western hero. Deadpool 2, however, goes past the ribald R-rated humor. It goes past the sarcasm. It actually has romance, drama, tension, and real connection with some of these very fictional characters. In short, I was really surprised what kind of film I got. I was pleasantly surprised, and the second thing I think that they really nailed was character. Now here comes a little bit of a spoiler, because Juggernaut's character on screen had me geeking out for so many reasons. When the first Deadpool was released, I praised the film for giving us a real Colossus, one of my favorite characters in the comic, and I mean a real 8-foot metal Russian accented Colossus. And in Deadpool 2, we got the real Juggernaut, instead of that meme-causing Vinnie Jones. Then again, the Juggernaut in this one used other naughty words other than just bitch. But character and tone go hand in hand, and what I mean by that is, if you make tiny little changes, which are inevitable in any adaptation, the changes have to fit, either tonally or in terms of the character. For instance, in this one, Juggernaut drops a few F-bombs, which, granted, I've never heard the Juggernaut swear. However, if he really existed, he'd probably drop a few F-bombs. While we're on the subject, and for those of you who can't join us in the 21st century, doesn't Zazie Beetz look more like a domino than, say, Domino? And even if you disagree with all of that, you have to agree that Zazie really got the character. Sassy, confident, damaged, kick-ass. The point is, if you have a problem with a black woman playing Domino, you have no right to call yourself an X-Men or an X-Force fan. Because you might have kind of missed how the comics and the movies are all about inclusion. In fact, they actually include other characters from other cinematic universes. That's fairly inclusive. Now, we'll talk about the actual altruistic version of inclusion in a second, but let's talk about Josh Brolin being in every cinematic universe. I would have never thought it was possible for one man to play two kick-ass antagonistic comic book characters within the span of a month, not only nailing both parts, but inevitably changing not only the films they're in, but that cinematic universe. Can anybody think of a role he could take in the DCEU? Oh wait, DC Worlds or whatever the crap it's called. That might help it. Cable was everything I wanted. And even though Josh Brolin is not 6'8" with deltoids larger than his own head, he embodied the character, the attitude, was perfect. His tech, his weaponry looked cool. It was a lot of fun to watch. His backstory was familiar. You kind of sympathized with the character. The fact is, if you want to get a comic book character done right, you go to Josh Brolin. You give it to Josh Brolin, just like I'm going to give him the For the Win. Wait, I just realized that Brolin does represent an altruistic version of inclusion. He was purple-skinned in his previous film. Dad joke, maybe. Diversity, definitely. And once again, let's just state it, inclusion is absolutely critical when it comes to X-Men films and the X-Men mythos. And you know what? It's something that Deadpool 2 does better than a lot of them. They even make a joke about the X-Men title being an allegory for racial injustice. And think about this cast for a second. They made Domino black and had other strong black characters. They made Shatterstar Asian and had other Asian characters, one of which was actually in an LGBTQ relationship with one of the other main characters. And let's not forget the title character and the actor who plays him is Canadian, and it's nice when we're represented, because otherwise I'd really worry about the handsome white guy demographic. These films have always understood the core values and subtext of the 50-plus year X-Men franchise, and they've always included inclusion and diversity. And that's why I love them, leave them, or probably arrest them. Bryan Singer actually got this franchise off on the right foot. Are we really going to leave this video on another Bryan Singer note? No. Much like the Queen film, let's forget about Bryan Singer, because Deadpool 2 actually surprised me with another key value that I just didn't see coming in a Deadpool movie. It had a lot of heart, and who would have thought it? This film was actually about love, human connection, and finding your place in the world. I know. Holy crap, they stole that from Logan as well. Well played. The first Deadpool, I liked it. Didn't love it, but Deadpool 2 came out of nowhere. It was an amazing surprise, just because I didn't see it coming. It was arguably the most fun I've had in theaters this year. And the fact is, that definitely makes it and earn it. And that's why it may be the strongest X-Men film yet, and arguably one of the greatest comic book adaptations. Poll question, what X-Men character do you think should come to life in either Deadpool 3 or X-Force? As always, leave your answers in the comment section below. But until next time, school's out. Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.